Hey, 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 ladies, what are you doing? We're doing goals and we're creating our life this month. And we're going to spend time, we're going to spend focus, we're going to look at our wildest dreams and we're going to reverse engineer them into bite-sized, day-sized pieces that will create the life that you want. Remember, so much of our movement is about incremental change. So at first, what we do is remember our process. We look at the reality of our life as it is now. So we always start with truth. Nothing changes till it becomes what it is. So you look at your life the way it's been, the way it was, year-end review, and you looked at it. What was my life like? Now what we do is we say, what do I want my life to be? And then we look in the different areas that I asked you to look at. Well, where do I want my life to land in December? Where do I want it to for sure be in December at the end of this year, physically, in terms of my mental health, in terms of the friendships that I have, in terms of my finances, business, what type of a life do I want in terms of friendships, in terms of fun? Where do I want my life to be when I wake up on December 31st, 2022? Now, I want to kind of clarify that a little bit. So every one of these wild dreams, every one of these things that were the what, but not the how, because we're not doing the how. We weren't doing the how last week. We're just knowing what we want. The steps to get to where we want to go is we have to know what we want. And without knowing that, we can't get there. We also have to know where we are now. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? And then with that in mind, now we don't consider how we're going to do those things. Now, the next steps is that we take that dream and that desire and we break it down. So we break it down into 4 chunks, which is the quarters of the year, which is 12 weeks at a time. So the 4th quarter, the 3rd quarter of the year, the 2nd quarter of the year, and the 1st quarter. So the 1st quarter of the year from January 1st to March 31st, you want to be able to take the large goal at the end of the year and say, okay, pick one goal that you guys have all chosen, and I want you to do this practice. You're going to take that goal and you're going to say, okay, in order to get there, what do I need to do? What do I need to do from now until March 31st? What goal do I need to achieve by March 31st that keeps me in line with my year-end goal? So it could be, I'm going to use numbers because they're easy because you can just break them up and you can look at them. So let's say I want $100,000 by, the end of the year. So then if you're going to break it up into quarters, logically it sounds like, oh, so I'm going to be putting away $25,000 each quarter. And maybe that's true, but you want to make sure that it fits your life. So an example might be, okay, now I'm looking at my calendar. I know that's a year-end goal. And I'm not saying that should be your goal. I'm just doing it for the purpose of explanation. So let's say we say, okay, so by March 31st, in order for me to be on track in the direction that I want to go, I need to be able to put some things in place in order to achieve that. So it may sound logical to say, oh, I'm going to, my quarterly goal will be that I'm going to have $25,000 saved. And you may decide that, but you may say realistically, I think that first quarter, I need to be able to prepare for that. I need to be able to start to put in place like, a bank account that I'm not touching, and then start to every time, like I'm going to now look at my paycheck and I'm going to say, oh, so how much of my paycheck? So I'm going to know by the first week in January, how much do I need, what percentage of my paycheck do I need to take and put automatically away before I do anything else with my money. So I'm going to take that money before I spend anything, before I use do any expenses, anything. So what would be the strategy that I would need to ensure that I get there? No ifs, ands, or buts. How will it happen? Not Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna make that happen because I have too many bills. No, how is that gonna be the priority? And how am I in what way am I going to achieve that? So that's just an example. So maybe the first week is you have developed the strategy for that quarter. Then the next week is, okay, now I make sure I have my bank accounts in place. And now this first paycheck, I'm going to take this percentage, and no matter what, every week, that percentage is going in. And then, okay, reverse engineer. So how can I ensure, oh, maybe that's not enough to get me to, let's say, a $20,000 mark at the end of the quarter. So what small expenses can I stop doing? What can I start doing? What can I stop doing in order to create this end goal? Because no matter what, I'm getting there. You see, now I'm using this as an example. So then as you're looking at, so this is your quarter, you're going to have an understanding of year-end goal, then where do I want to be this quarter? Where do I want to be the end of this quarter? Where do I want to be the end of this quarter? Where do I want to be at the end of the year, right? So then you're going to, again, where do I want to be the first month, January? So when I have a year-end goal, like, oh, I'm going to hire whatever, I'm going to hire an accountant. So now I know that by January 15th, I will have set up an interview with 3 accountants. And then I know by January, whatever, 30th, that I will have chosen that accountant. And then I know that by February 15th, they will have all the documents necessary to move into that role that I have. So that's within that quarter, that is achieved already. Do you understand? So each of those goals down at the end of the year, you want to have deadlines for them, because there's the principle that time or tasks expand to the amount of time that they're given. So if we're given 2 weeks to complete a task, it'll take 2 weeks. If we're given 6 months to complete the same task, it'll take 6 months. The tasks spread out to the amount of time we give them. So you want to, as you're reverse engineering these goals, these year-end goals, and you're making bite-size, quarterly size pieces, monthly size pieces, that means 12 pieces, then weekly pieces, that means 52 bite-size goals. You know, at the end of this week, I want to be here. At the end of this month, I want to be here. At the end of this quarter, I want to be here. I will be here. And what is success in this area of saving this amount of money? What does success look like for me today? So it could be as simple as today, the direction I'm going in today is that I'm not going to Starbucks. I'm bringing my own lunch, and I'm taking every single day, I'm going to move $100 into that thing, in addition to the other stuff that I'm doing when I get my paycheck. So I'm making this up. So think about it. Think about, I want you to take one goal, year-end goal, and then I want you to think about where you would need to be. We're going to do the first quarter. Where do I need to be in order to stay in line with this goal? Where do I need to be by March 31st? And I want everybody to do this. Then, so when I open my calendar, I look at, okay, what is really, when I open my calendar, I look at what my week's end goal is. You know, I try to stay where I am. And then I say, and then in my calendar, because my calendar's prepped, you know, because I do my calendar on Sunday, right, for the week. And then I do my day that I'm in the night before. So I know the things that I'm going to be doing that day in order to finish my week's goals. My week's goals, when I look at them on the first of the month, I'm looking at what monthly goal do I need to stay in line with my quarterly goal. So this is going to be a strategy that you guys are going to be doing, and it's going to help you a lot to do it. So what you do is you're going to take your 1 year-end goal. You're going to be practicing this 1 year-end goal. You're going to write the steps that you believe you need to do to achieve that goal. Then you're going to look at your year, and you're going to say, what would need to happen this quarter in order for me to be in line with that? Now you're looking at your quarter, what you're going to do. What I like to do is I like to write an exhaustive list of all the different things I'm going to do and not do in order to get there. And then what I do is I say, so what would that look like? What kinds of things do I need to put on my calendar? And then you put things on your calendar, you time block them, and they become your appointments. So if you know that you want to accomplish a particular thing, so I'm going to look at my thing right here. So an example of like what I need to do, like let's say for your mental health, you want to be more confident. So what are the ways in which to get confident? That's kind of like a like a blurry goal, but it's an important one. So how do people become confident? And then you ask yourself, what would be the things that would create confidence in me? So one of the things I know is that I keep the promises I make to myself. So that would be, you know, in order to create confidence, you might say, you know, there's a book that I really know that I want to read this quarter. And, you know, because it really, really will, it'll be food for my soul and my confidence. And it'll kind of teach me a lot of stuff about how to maintain confidence, how to have the right kind of thinking and all of that. So then your goal might be that for that quarter, I'm going to finish this book. I mean, to me, you should finish your book in a month or whatever, a week, but let's just, you know, for the purposes of explanation, let's say this quarter. So then you look at the book, it's 300 pages, whatever it is, and you say, what do I got to read every day? So one of the things, you know, one of the practices I have is that I read 10 pages a day of something that I want to get towards, something that I want to learn, because I'm, you know, to me, I want to be a lifetime learner. And I want to ask myself at the end of this year, what do I want to know that I don't know at the beginning of the year? So then what do I have to read? So then in your quarters and your months, you go, these are the books I'm going to read this year. So that could be a goal. These are the books I'm reading this year. So I'm reading, so maybe you say, you know, I'm going to read 12 books this year. And this is the topics I'm going to learn on these 12 books. And now you say, okay, you don't labor over which book you read. You take and you say, you know, I'm going to read 10 pages a day. And what you're doing, or you could decide 15, it could be 5, but you make a decision that you're going to be infusing and giving yourself data that's going to create a mental health move that you want to make, or a personal development move, or a financial move, or a physical move. And that will be part of staying in line with your goal and creating the life that you want. So what you're going to do with this PDF is you're really going to take a look at, you're going to take the goal and you're going to reverse engineer it. You're going to say, what am I doing going backwards to today, right? So now, what do I need to do, or what would success look like for me today in gaining confidence increasingly throughout this year? So it might look like that I spend 10 minutes in meditation today in order and be meditating on my value. So then you may make a decision, and that's another thing that I'm going to add into this. I want you to think about that as we're creating these goals, the other thing that you're creating is habits. So another thing that we're going to be doing is the power list that Andy Frisella talks about. You can look it up on his Real AF podcast. And basically it is about writing 5 critical tasks every day that is going to advance you in your life. It's not a to-do list. And I'm going to give you more explanation about that next time. But it's really, you know, one of the practices that I do, and I live by it, is the night before, even in the morning of, I brain dump. So I get everything out of my head, I write it on my brain dump sheet. And then what I do is I take the brain dump, all those things that are on my mind, and I schedule them in my calendar for the things that need to be accomplished. But then as I'm doing that, I'm also looking at what is my goal for that week. So then reverse engineer what has to happen each day for that to be accomplished by the end of the year, right? By the end of the week, I'm sorry. And then your whole calendar, you want your calendar planned at least this month. I like the whole quarter. It's a job, but you know what? When you do it early, either you plan, either you're proactive or you're reactive. So you always want to be ahead of your calendar. Calendar's planned, January's planned, February's planned. You know where you're going. It's not a lot of thought. You're not running on the fly, and you're always in line with your goals that are going to get you to the end of the year. So guys, I want you to, I know this is a lot. I want you to post questions if you have them, and I'm going to send out a PDF. You're going to have it tomorrow. I'm trying to stay in line with, you know, what we're doing in terms of really, really staying tight and being committed to creating the life that you are going to have at the end of this year. And we're going to keep track. I want you guys to list out in the comments. I want you guys to throw out there, and I mean it, do it. I want you to write down what goal, or you could write all of them, you know, for every section, but what goal are you going to reverse engineer? And I would love for you to reverse engineer them all for this first quarter. Fill in your calendar. How are you going to stay in line with that goal? Excuse me. And it's going to be the year-end goal. You're going to make sure it's in line with that. So I want you to comment, write down some of the things you're going to do that you did, that you weren't doing before. That's going to get you to your goal. Excuse me, guys. I don't know why I'm coughing. All right. I will see you soon. The PDF will come out tomorrow. Love you.